stubborn belly fat, waking up exhausted, feeling foggy after meals, there's a very real chance that your liver is overloaded with fat right now. And most people have no idea that it's happening. Look, belly fat is not just a weight problem. It's often a liver problem. And if your liver gets fatty, your metabolism starts breaking down from the inside out. Fat burning slows, energy crashes, inflammation rises, hormones get disrupted, and your body starts storing more and more fat around your stomach. And this could happen even if you barely drink alcohol or don't drink any alcohol. And that's the part that shocks so many people. Look, I was there myself. When I was 23 years old, here's some photos of me. I was obese, 34% body fat. I was exhausted. My whole body felt like it was on fire. I was inflamed. My brain fog was so bad, especially after meals, that I could barely think. So I went to my doctor like so many people did my liver enzymes, did an ultrasound. And what I discovered was that I had moderate fatty liver disease at 23 years old. And I barely drank alcohol. But this part got me angry. My doctor's advice: we'll keep an eye on it. That was the plan, to watch my liver slowly destroy my metabolism. So I ignored his advice. I started researching this myself and I figured it out myself. And within a few months, my liver enzymes, ALT, GGT, AST, all went from abnormal to the healthy functional range. My energy came back. My belly fat disappeared. Look, I lost 80 pounds in 9 months. I went from 34% body fat. I'll show you photos at my highest weight to 6% body fat at my lowest, 38 waist, size 30. Ultrasound showed no fatty liver. And guess what? That was about 18 years ago. None of it returned. And the craziest part, the 3 things I did to actually reverse it was way simpler than anything my doctor told me to do. No medications, no starvation, no expensive liver cleanse. And number 2 might be the single biggest silent mistake destroying people's livers every single night. Okay, before I get into the shifts, you have to understand something that completely changed the way I look at fatty liver disease, because it changed everything that I did about it. Most people think fatty liver disease is an alcohol problem. That's what I thought. That's probably what you thought when you clicked this lesson to watch or listen to it. But here's the truth that's actually kind of wild. Roughly 1 in 3 adults walking around right now has fatty liver. Some studies put it closer to 38%. And the vast majority of these people don't even drink alcohol. The medical community actually renamed this disease. It used to be called NAFLD, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Now it's called MASLD, metabolic dysfunction associated steatotic liver disease. Okay, that's a mouthful. But they literally changed the name because alcohol isn't the main driver anymore. Not even close. So what is? Insulin, inflammation, and what I call metabolic overload. You see, this liver that you have sitting right here on the right side of your rib cage, it isn't just some filter sitting inside your body. Your liver is the master organ of your metabolism. Every single thing you eat, drink, breathe in, swallow, take as a medication, your liver processes. And when you overload it day after day, year after year, it starts storing fat right inside its cells, like a sponge that got too full and starts leaking. And here's what matters more than what your doctor will tell you. Once your liver gets fatty, your whole metabolism breaks down. You stop burning fat efficiently. Your blood sugar gets harder to regulate. Your hormones get scrambled. Your inflammation skyrockets. And you start gaining weight that nothing seems to take off. And the kicker, you feel awful. But most doctors will look at your blood work and say, your numbers are fine. Let's continue monitoring this. That's exactly what happened to me. Now let me show you the 3 shifts that completely flip this around. Shift number 1, stop the insulin spikes. Look, snacking is probably the number 1 thing destroying your liver right now. It's not necessarily the donut or the soda, it's the constant grazing even on healthy snacks. Every time you eat, whether it's a snack or a meal, I mean anything, healthy or unhealthy, you trigger an insulin spike. Even healthy snacks, my friend. Even almonds, even Greek yogurt, even that kombucha. Heck, even the handful of berries you thought was so virtuous. And what most people are doing all day is spiking their insulin. Not 3 or 5 times, no, up to 20 3 times per day. Breakfast at 7 a.m., coffee with creamer that spikes insulin at 9, mid-morning protein bar at 10:30 a.m., lunch at noon, afternoon healthy snack at 2, maybe coffee or a 4-hour energy drink right after, then dinner at 6, a little fruit at night, and then bedtime tea with some more sugar. Every single one of those. Spike insulin. When your insulin levels stay constantly elevated, your liver gets one signal. The signal is store fat. Do not burn it, store it. That signal doesn't stop until insulin actually drops back down. And insulin only drops back down when you genuinely leave your liver alone for a few hours. That was me. I was doing exactly what every fitness magazine and personal trainer in the 2000s told me to do. Eat 6 small meals a day to keep your metabolism revved up. Well, that advice didn't rev up my metabolism. There's no such thing. It wrecked it. It trained my body to be a sugar burner, which means I couldn't access fat for fuel, including liver fat. And every snack was an instruction note to my liver. Pack on more fat. Would you like to know what my doctor asked me when it came to my nutrition and meal frequency? Nothing. Not a single question. He didn't ask me how many times a day I ate. He didn't ask me about snacks. He never even mentioned the term insulin resistance to me. He just said, you might want to lose some weight. Thank you, Einstein. That was the plan. That was it. So I made a change. I went down to 3 meals per day as my start. No grazing in between. Not just one almond or a bite of a protein bar. Just 3 meals with about 4 hours of no food in between those meals. And within just 2 weeks of doing this simple thing, I was actually pretty shocked. The energy crashes that I experienced after meals, that was gone. The puffiness in my face when I woke up, gone. My sleep got deeper. And when I went back for blood work a few months later, my liver enzymes almost dropped in half. So here's a quick self-check for you. If you crash after meals, if you wake up puffy, if you store fat mostly around your belly and your face looks bloated in the morning, your liver is screaming at you. It's begging for a break. So your first action step here, stop snacking. Eat 2 to 3 real meals per day. Give your liver at least 4 hours of a break in between those meals so insulin can actually drop. And here's something else. Cut out liquid sugar entirely. Yes, sodas, sweetened coffees, juices, which include organic, cold-pressed fruit and green juices, sports drinks, and even kombuchas. All of that are sugar bombs. That stuff hits your liver quicker and more powerful than probably anything else, because it's the fructose in those drinks that could only be processed by your liver. About 90% of fructose is processed by this liver. And there's a Swiss study showing where they gave healthy young men sugar-sweetened drinks for just 7 weeks. That's it, 7 weeks. And their rate of liver fat doubled. Look, these were lean, healthy young men. From just drinking drinks, their liver fat production doubled. That's how fast this happens. Imagine what your daily routine has been doing for years. Okay, shift number 2. I stopped eating before bed. If you take nothing else away from this lesson, please let it be this one. Because what I'm about to share with you blew my mind when I learned the actual science behind it. There's a study that came out of Oxford, published in Cell Metabolism this year. They tracked people with fatty liver disease around the clock, day, night, with real biopsies, real insulin testing, real measurements every few hours. And here's what they discovered. Your liver makes more fat at night, way more. I'm not making this up. Liver fat production literally ramps up overnight while you are sleeping. Insulin sensitivity drops and insulin resistance gets worse, not just in your liver, but in your muscles and your belly fat too. All at the same time, all overnight. And here's the part that kind of punched me in the gut when I read the study. People with fatty liver in this study were eating more than 40% of their daily calories at dinner. 40% at the worst possible time for their liver. It's like your liver is trying to fix the house at night and you keep throwing more garbage in the front door every 5 minutes. This was me, 100%. I was a late night eater. Big dinner at 9 or sometimes 10 p.m. And then I'd snack after, maybe have a bowl of cereal at 11 p.m. Because, hey, I deserve it after a long day. And sometimes I was so good during the day and I'd throw it all away at night. Then I'd wake up at 7 a.m. in the morning feeling like a freight train hit me. Foggy, puffy, hungry already. I couldn't figure out for the life of me why I felt worse after 8 hours of sleep than I did before I went to bed. And I told my doctor about this. I literally said, "Doc, I don't feel rested. I sleep 8 hours and I wake up exhausted." Not once did he ask me, "What time do you eat dinner? Are you snacking before bed? What do you have for dinner?" None of that. He never asked me any of that. So I made the change. I stopped eating at least 3 hours before bed. That was my hard rule. Kitchen is closed. I would go to bed at 11 p.m. That means I would stop eating by 8 p.m. at the latest. No exceptions, not just one more bite. Within the first week, and I'm not exaggerating here, my deep sleep doubled on my fitness tracker. I was waking up clear-headed, my stomach was flatter, my face wasn't puffy, and that morning brain fog that I just accepted as being part of being an adult was completely gone. Why? Because at night, your liver is supposed to be repairing itself and burning fat. This is why Chinese medicine calls it liver time. You see, there's a fat-burning hormone called growth hormone that pulses while you sleep. People pay thousands of dollars to get growth hormone injected by anti-aging doctors. But the second you eat too close to bed, insulin spikes and your growth hormone pulse shuts off. By not eating before bed, you just paid yourself with a free dose of growth hormone by closing the kitchen 3 hours before bed. Look, and the deep sleep itself matters too. You burn more fat during deep and REM sleep than you do working out in the gym. Yeah, you heard me right. The gym. The deep sleep is where fat loss actually happens. And eating before bed kills deep sleep. So your action step, close the kitchen at least 3 hours before bed. Even better, 5 hours. Only water after that. Brush your teeth after that last meal. No snacks, not even healthy snacks. Not even a piece of fruit. No almonds, nothing. Give your liver the night shift it desperately needs to actually repair itself. And one of the biggest shifts that I've noticed as well was this right here. Because changing my eating habits did help me stop the damage. But supporting my liver properly is what finally helped my body recover faster. And once I understood how much stress the modern world puts on the liver, the missing piece became very obvious to me. My liver didn't just need less overload, it needed more support. And one of the most important things for that is glutathione, because your liver is under attack every single day, not just from food, but from alcohol, plastics, air pollution, seed oils, pesticides, medications, stress hormones, ultra-processed foods. And every single day, your liver is forced to neutralize all of it. To survive that assault, your liver relies heavily on this master antioxidant, glutathione. If glutathione gets depleted, fat starts building in the liver. Inflammation rises and detox pathways get shut down. That means energy crashes harder and your metabolism starts to struggle. And most people are running on glutathione fumes. So for me, what I currently do when I tell my students who have fatty liver disease, I tell them to take a high quality NAC supplement, NAC. The one I tell them to use, the one that I personally use, is from Myoscience. The reason why I take and recommend NAC is because NAC, NAC, gives your body the exact raw material it uses to produce glutathione naturally. And this is important because most NAC supplements are underdosed. They're also poor quality or maybe even loaded with fillers. So people buy random NAC products online, take it for a few weeks and notice nothing. And they assume NAC doesn't work. That wasn't the problem. The quality was the problem. Anyways, I use Myoscience because they're third-party tested, no junk fillers, no unnecessary additives, and it's dosed in the actual research-backed range used in human studies on fatty liver and metabolic health. So follow the tips I'm giving you here. I have one more tip to give you, but if you wanted to add a supplement, it would be this one. This is the one I would recommend. And for my community only, you could get 20% off your Myoscience products, including NAC. And I would grab it while it's available because we tend to go through their inventory pretty fast. They also back it up with a full money-back guarantee. So click the first link in the description box below or scan the QR code on the screen to get it. The coupon code is automatically applied and it costs about $1 a day with a discount. That's less than what people spend on toxic coffee or processed snacks that's making them feel worse. So I wouldn't wait on this if you're thinking about getting NAC. And let me show you how easy this is. You just click on that link in the description box below, scan the QR code, and you're gonna see this page. Myoscience, glycine, and NAC. You'll scroll down, they have tropical, unflavored, and capsules. I actually have the tropical flavored. You could do subscribe and save, one-time purchase. You're gonna add to the cart. And I simply just put 1 scoop with water and I have that every single day. That's it. Now, I typically add, and I highly recommend, adding vitamin D with this. you could simply hit out the X button and then click on the search bar, type in vitamin D. They have a great vitamin D and K2, which I typically also take because most people struggling with fatty liver are having also metabolic dysfunction and they're low in vitamin D. So both NAC, glutathione, and vitamin D work well all together. So I'm going to add a large serving to the cart as well. The coupon code is automatically applied to both. Okay, shift number 3 is to walk after your meals. This one is the lowest effort, highest reward habit I have ever discovered for fatty liver. And it's free. Doesn't require equipment, doesn't require fancy supplements, doesn't even require sweating. Simply walk for 10 to 15 minutes after your meals. Now, ideally, you want to do this after all your meals. If your time is crunched, then after your biggest meal of the day, which is typically dinner for most people. That's it. I know it sounds way too simple. I thought so too at first, so I almost dismissed it. But here's what's actually happening in your body when you go for a walk after a meal. You see, when you eat, glucose flows into your bloodstream. From there, it has 2 places to go. Option 1, your muscles, where it gets burned for energy. Option 2, your liver, where it gets stored as fat. When you sit down on the couch after dinner, like the average American does every single night of their life, that glucose goes to door number 2, right into the liver. Brick by brick, fat cell by fat cell. But when you walk, even at a slow pace, your muscles open up like a sponge. They literally pull glucose right out of the bloodstream and burn it for fuel. Here's the key, without needing the insulin, the extra insulin to do that job. Look, the research on this is wild. A 10 to 20 minute walk after meals can reduce your post-meal blood sugar spike by up to 30%. That's not from medication. It's not even from a supplement. That's just from getting off the couch. And over time, this single habit pulls fat directly out of the liver. There's actual beautiful research showing that just brisk walking around 150 minutes total a week reduces liver fat by 20 to 30% in just 8 to 12 weeks with no special diet, no calorie counting, just walking. Look, I used to spend hours in the gym and I got nowhere with this. Then I started walking 15 minutes just after dinner. And this worked to pull more fat from my belly than any elliptical or stair climber that I ever used. So your action step, after every meal or at the very minimal, after your biggest meal of the day, go for a 10 to 15 minute walk. This one shift alone can change your liver in the next 90 days. Look, as my liver fat dropped, my belly fat started disappearing. I wasn't trying harder at the gym. I wasn't slashing calories. I wasn't doing anything extreme. Just these 3 shifts you just learned about. And the belly fat, that stubborn, hard, stress belly, started to melt away. That's when I had the realization that most people will never be told. Belly fat is not a willpower problem. Belly fat is a liver problem. When your liver gets overloaded, it dumps fat around your midsection. That's actually how it protects you. It pushes the excess fat into the belly to keep it from accumulating inside your liver cells. So you can hit the gym 6 days a week, do every diet on the planet, take a bunch of fat burners, but if your liver is still under siege, that belly fat isn't going anywhere. Fatty liver isn't really a liver disease. It's a metabolic overload disease. It's not a willpower problem. It's a metabolic traffic jam. And these 3 shifts you just learned about unclog the traffic jam right at the source. Now, before I answer some of the questions you submitted on this topic, I want to give you a resource here. I'm coming out with a new book called Keto Flex Revised. In this book, I go even deeper on ways to support the liver, burn fat, how to customize your dietary approach, whether it's keto, fasting, carnivore, or something else to work for you. There's a protocol for men, a protocol for women, postmenopausal women, cycling women, and this is being released July 1st. Bookstores, paperback, Kindle, Audible, and Spotify. I narrated the entire book myself, and I should say, you could get the book, you could pre-order it right now and get some free bonuses. All you need to do is go to ketoflexbook.com or scan the QR code on the screen, pre-order the book, and you'll get sent automatically right away those free bonuses so you get started right away. Now let's get to your questions. Do I have to give up alcohol entirely to reverse fatty liver? Look, alcohol makes it worse. I'd recommend you give it up at least for the next 90 days until you correct the issue to give your liver a serious head start. If you don't give it up, then let me share with you the worst offenders when it comes to alcohol versus better options. They're all bad for you, but there are better options. So the alcohol you definitely want to avoid is beer and wine. If you choose to have alcohol, go with clear liquor, whiskey, tequila, vodka. And if you take the NAC before, that could help. If you take a binder before, that could help. If you eat asparagus with the alcohol, that could also help. Can I still drink coffee? Yes, please do. Coffee is great for the liver if it's a clean source. Make sure it's organic, tested for contaminants, make sure it's a medium roast, and make sure it's high in CGA. And don't sweeten the coffee. Maybe have it with some heavy cream, maybe a tablespoon of butter, but nothing sweet. Should I get my liver checked? I think it's a good idea. Ask your doctor to test your ALT, AST, GGT, and maybe even do an ultrasound. And when you get the results, don't accept your doctor's explanation that your numbers are normal. You want your ALT and AST to be under 20. You want that ultrasound to show no signs of fatty liver. Ask your doctor about the standard reference range versus a functional optimal range. There's a difference. Look, these 3 shifts reversed my fatty liver, fixed my energy, dropped my belly fat, lost 80 pounds in 9 months. It gave me my life back. And that was 18 years ago. Stop the snacking, stop eating before bed, walk after your meals, and consider taking an NAC supplement. If this lesson made something click for you, if you're suddenly looking at the puffiness, the fatigue, the brain fog, the belly fat, the bloating you might be having at a completely new lens, share this lesson with somebody. Share it with your spouse, with your parents, with a coworker, because the real issue isn't calories. It's a liver that's been silently begging for relief. And hey, if you want to go deeper into this topic, there's a natural Ozempic alternative that costs about $2 a day, and it works faster, more effective, and no side effects like Ozempic. You're going to want to watch this recent video on this topic.